What is the dumbest thing you believed as a child? 1. I believed that the government turns off the lights at night. 2. I thought if you kiss, you get pregnant. 3. I thought that drinking and driving meant any drink. 4. I believed that God knew you got married and then decided to put a baby in your belly. Imagine my shock when the single neighbor got pregnant. 5. I believed that my hamster escaped my house to get a haircut. Spoiler alert, it died, and my parents bought a new hamster. I still can't believe I fell for that. 6. I thought that if I swallowed a watermelon seed, a watermelon would grow in my stomach. 7. I believed that all adults could read minds. And I didn't just believe it, I knew it. My theory was that all adults could read minds, but pretended not to know some things so that kids wouldn't figure it out. Then, on your 18th birthday, your parents would sit you down and explain everything to you, and you would develop the ability to read minds. As I grew up, I let go of that belief. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't slightly disappointed on my 18th birthday. 8. I believed that pointing at a rainbow would cut off the finger that was used to point at it. 9. I thought that actors returned to the studio every time they reran a show. I was so amazed that they could do this thing over and over again. Plus, I thought that they didn't poop. I always imagined how Angelina Jolie would poop. Like, no way she was doing that. 10. I believed they used camels in the desert because they could store water in their humps. I thought that meant people traveling with camels could somehow get water to drink from the camel's hump. Not that it meant they wouldn't have to find water for their camels to drink. 11. I believed my parents would get a ticket from the cops if I turned the dome light on in the car at night. 12. I believed that adults were knowledgeable human beings who knew what they were doing. As an adult now, I've learned that tons of adults are idiots, and most of us are just winging it. 13. I believed in the tooth fairy. 14. I believed that the father of a friend had a treasure from his former days as a pirate in a chest he had in the house. 15. We've all been told not to swim for 30 minutes after eating because you'll get cramps. I misheard this as a child and thought that you'd get crabs in your stomach. I thought that somehow the food attracted crabs in the water and they'd get into your stomach somehow. Having handled blue crabs, I didn't want that in my tummy. 16. I spent a lot of time at my nan's house when I was small, and she had this big old record player unit on which she played her old LPs. It had a weird little hatch at the back. Well, I'd watched the Beatles' Help film with her, and with my vivid imagination, I somehow thought it was possible that the Beatles were tiny and lived in that record player, and the little hatch was the door where they came out at night. 17. When I was about 5 years old, I met the Black Power Ranger and got a picture of him signed. In the picture, you could see that he was missing his middle finger, and my mom told me it was because he had flipped his mom off, so she cut it off. I believed it until I was about 20 years old when my mom told me she had lied about it and didn't actually know what happened. Growing up, I told so many people this guy's mom cut his finger off. 18. I thought that if I swallowed gum, it would stick to my lungs for 7 years. 19. I believed the moon was following me. 20. I thought all dogs were male and all cats were female. 21. I believed that I was part First Nations. We went to visit my absentee grandmother when I was about 6. My grandparents divorced when my mom was a child. My grandfather was awarded custody, and my mom didn't have much of a relationship with her mother. She was living on a reserve, and I honestly just assumed she was Native, and therefore so was I. I believed this for 40 years. Turns out she was living with a boyfriend there. 22. I thought worms grew up into snakes. 23. I believed that Darth Vader got his red lightsaber by squeezing it in anger. Thank you for watching. We've shared stories from Redditors, and now I have one of my own. When I was a kid, my mom told me that whistling at night would summon demons. So, throughout my childhood, I never whistled at night, and I still don't. Whenever I catch myself whistling at night, I stop and wonder if I'm summoning demons. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing will help the channel. Thank you, and see you again.